Hello and welcome to this very special show on Rishabh Pant. This guy will never cease to amaze you. His pyrotechnics, his mental framework. Somebody at Harvard Business School or somewhere should do brain mapping of Rishabh Pant's brain. The Stump microphone commentary or audio should be kept for historical reasons. I will let Gargi Raut talk to you about the Stump microphone audio and what she was picking up in that radio before we go to the Rishabh Pant innings. And here we will talk about hundreds in both innings, not just the second, and how good was Pant. We will celebrate Pant, and we had observed Rishabh Pant very, very closely during the net sessions. Our two editors who are at the back end will know that they have all of this footage of Rishabh Pant, which you can actually see how Pant had trained ahead of the test match at the end of this show. But first to Gargi Raut, who had picked up, and she was actually excited. She would keep running to me in the press box and say, this is what I picked up. This is what I picked up of Rishabh Pant. Over to you.
No, but I think this was something that all of India or everyone who was watching the broadcast would have heard because it was that loud. And I was constantly, and this is a practice that I do when I'm watching Test cricket, because then you get to hear these little nuances or little plannings or a hint of a plan. You can hear on the stump mic or pick up from facial expressions or something like that. So I always keep an eye out or keep an ear out for those kind of details. And just as it happened, Rishabh Pant, after that lap shot, he fell off. He tried a few of those shots, those audacious shots, and we were constantly, we were sitting in that lunch area where there is a charming little balcony that overlooks the entire ground. But obviously,
where you got photographed with Sunny Gavaskar, so that's
yes,
the balcony.
That's the balcony. But that room does not have a direct view of the match. So obviously, your only audio cue is the crowd. So every time the crowd erupted, it was, in Pant's case, it's either an out or an audacious shot that leaves the entire stadium stunned. So you can't really figure out what's going on. And the tellies are always,
7 seconds.
7 seconds behind. So in those 7 seconds, you have no idea what's happened. So half of the people have left their meal. They are running to the balcony to see if he's gotten out or what, because he was in his nervous 90s. Half of the people are trying to figure out, there was a contest where people were trying to figure out, is this an out cheer or is this a boundary cheer? What kind of cheer is this? But these are the kind of things that Rishabh Pant makes you do. But coming back to that stump mic, he was constantly talking to himself throughout the innings. And I've never seen Rishabh Pant talk to himself this much. He was saying, Rishabh, play with a straight bat. Show the face of the bat. Don't try that. I can play with a straight bat. So he was constantly reassuring himself.
जैसे बोल रहा था वैसे बताइए.
उन्होंने खुद को बोला, तमीज से बैट कर. He was angry at himself, and after one of those shots later in the innings, when I was at the balcony waiting for him to get that century, a little bit before that, not exactly then, but he tried one of those shots off of Shoaib Bashir, if I'm not wrong, and he walked to the side of the wicket and just went like this. He was angry, he was livid with himself, and Rohit Juglan was sitting next to me, and he could have also narrated that story, but self-restraint, which is very, very difficult for Rishabh Pant to do. We know, I wouldn't use the word impulse, but I feel like it's a natural game. And like KL Rahul said in the press conferences as well, us from the outside, we don't understand what is going on in Rishabh Pant's mind. It's natural to him. So for him to constantly speak to himself, tell himself that play with the straight bat, show the face of the bat, and restrain himself from playing the shot, it showed a lot of maturity. This is not the Rishabh Pant that you saw back in Australia. This is a newfound, and vice captaincy is looking good on Rishabh Pant.
That was quite beautifully narrated. And by the way, so many records. First ever Indian wicketkeeper-batter to get hundreds in both innings. Second only to Andy Flower. First time in England. He was the one in Birmingham in 2022 with 140. He was the only guy who got 140 and a 50. And then this, both innings, leadership, unbelievable. Now 800s crossing everybody in India. Farooq Engineer has done that interview with me, which you can read on the Rev Sports website. It's already out, where Farooq Engineer clearly said he's by far the best batter wicketkeeper India has produced. And he said, you are saying this is a record? I'm not ruling out him doing it again. He's got that bundle of talent. So Rishabh Pant is an absolute once-in-a-generation player. And I've got to put my hand up here. I've been one of his strongest backers, and I've got been trolled multiple times because I keep backing Rishabh Pant and also KL Rahul. So the first innings 100 was a gem, but that second innings 100, 90 for 3. First innings at least, Rishabh Pant walked in to bat at 220 for 3. So there was less pressure because Yashasvi Jaiswal had got 100. Shubman Gill was already in. Here, Shubman Gill was out. It was the first over of the day. It was the first over of the day. The ball was still 20-ish overs old. England had their tail up. They were coming hard. If Rishabh Pant wasn't able to stand up with KL Rahul, we would be staring at a defeat here in Leeds. That's where he put his hand up. And as Gargi Raut so beautifully described, he made a match of it. According to you, one of Rishabh Pant's better hundreds?
Better, I think this is, because this is the one I've seen in person as well, but this is one of the best. Just for the amount of difficulty, the conditions were absolutely treacherous. Aiden Cast was bowling so well, Stokes was bowling well, Chris Wokes was also bowling well. So if you put all of that in context, and the fact that your opener Yashasvi Jaiswal, also a centurion in the first innings, was back in the pavilion. Shubman Gill, also a centurion in the first innings, again back in the pavilion. And vice captain Rishabh Pant walking out under these conditions. Look at the cloud that is quite evidently showing up behind us. So these are the conditions that you have, and this is a nightmare for batters. And the fact that Rishabh Pant handled himself so gracefully, talked to himself throughout the innings, and saved the match for India.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that because there is chance of rain. It's 12 o'clock India, which is about 7:30 here. So there is chance of rain from 10 o'clock onwards. And these kind of conditions will prevail. So yes, KL Rahul said there will be a result. And if there is, I would say it's loaded in favor of India. And in that case, Rishabh Pant will be a match-winning 100. I don't see India losing this. If India does lose this, for me, it will be a very surprising call. And if there is rain interruption and the day doesn't have more than 70, 75 overs, I don't see India losing this. Absolutely not. If there is rain interruption, more so. Because how many overs? Even if you push the game back to 7:30, which you can, even if you push it back by about an hour, I don't see India losing from there on. So she's right. Either he saved the game or he's won the game for India. India losing, very surprising call, and that's not happening. But first innings 100, second innings 100, after that IPL slump. And then when you take into account what happened to him, the miracle of Rishabh Pant, the coming back after that accident and now doing this, what is he made of?
His story is worth the books. His story is worth the history books. And I can just imagine Rishabh Pant at the end of the career and a documentary being made. This will be gold.
Miracle. Absolute miracle.
Absolute.
I can tell you this. Dinshaw Padiwala told me when Rishabh came to him and he asked, can I play? And he said, what are you talking about playing? Forget playing. First think if you can walk. And he set targets about 6 months, 12 months. He said, I had told him 2 years and we'll think. This guy actually went back and started playing in 15 months. Absolute magical miracle. And then the thought was, okay, he can play, but can he play test cricket? Test cricket, wicket keeping, batting, can he do that all day, 5 days? Does his body give him that? And he started playing test cricket in Australia, now England. He scores 200s in a game, now comes to keep again, vice captaincy.
Madness. We're talking about self-restraint today. Look at the things that he's been through. Look at the comeback that he's made, especially after that IPL season. Look, when we talk about critics, there are many in India. Just the sheer volume of fans. And obviously, when you get love, you get, incredible love. But also when you get hate, it's just as bad. So when we talk about the fact that it was not only Rishabh Pant's batting that was being critiqued here, but also his captaincy with that IPL team, and that sort of brings you down. But Rishabh Pant, no, he's made of a different material, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, incredible 2 innings. It will only be rewarded if India does justice.
Yes.
So one hopes that's going to happen. As we said, Gargi and I, along with the entire team, Trisha, Rohan and the rest of the team, we had watched Rishabh Pant very, very closely at the nets. We had taken all of the footage and our 2 editors have put it together for you. This is Rishabh Pant, how he trained himself. Even at the nets, he was playing those audacious shots multiple times, hitting the top of the net. Rishabh Pant's training for the Leeds test match, which he will forever remember. the first Indian wicketkeeper batter to score 200s. Back-to-back hundreds in a test match never happened before. Can India win in Leeds? Only then will he get rewarded. Here's Rishabh Pant getting himself trained. Gargi and I back in exactly 2 hours, building up to the final day, the crescendo. Will it be weather interrupted or will it be not? Will KL Rahul's words come true? And can this tricky wicket give India 10 wickets? We'll be back soon. Keep watching Rev Sports, subscribe to the platform, and keep following our coverage.
I went there to see whether Astik was there or not, but he was not. He was not.